a little while ago we built the RT project, which was an attempt to recreate the PC Engine LT, a very expensive and rare console, in a kind of more DIY fashion. You still needed the PC Engine to make that, but those are much easier to get hold of than the actual machine. So, I mean, that was kind of NEC's almost portable machine. So how about we try again with their actually portable machine, the TurboExpress. Yes, so much like the PC Engine RT, one of our previous projects, we are taking the guts of an existing, oh, where are we? There we are. PC Engine. This is one of the original PC Engines. You can see my card there. And one of its controllers, which we'll get to in a minute. That's the PD 001, I think it is. But anyway, it's the original controller, the one without the turbo fire, for reasons which I'll get into later. And we are converting it into another form factor. In this case, it's going to be the actually like portable TurboExpress. This is quite big, quite a bit bigger than the TurboExpress, but again, we're using original. The basic aim of any of these projects when we use original consoles are that they should be entirely undoable. So we don't cut the boards up, we don't change things around. We can literally take apart what we've got here, put it back into its original shell, and it will just be as normal without any issues. We kind of achieved that in the RT1, but there were some things like soldering to wires and stuff, because the other thing I did with the RT1 is I was trying to make it more accessible, and so I didn't do custom PCBs, but then that actually made it less accessible because you had to do loads of soldering. And so I've not done that this time. I do have custom PCBs, but we aren't editing the thing. So anyway, we have come up with the MegaExpress, which is giant. Nice 7-inch screen there if you want a kind of a scale. So we have the original controller pad is screwed into the back there. We're going to be using this header so we don't affect anything. This is a drone screen, I think, for FPV, for drones. I'll put the linking in the bill of materials, and we've just wired up the plug to a couple of things. We only need one of the views because it's got 2 channels you can switch between, and the power. So we just needed 4 wires out of that. So yeah, this will sit on there in a minute. A few things. So I've only got a small printer now. I've got a Bamboo Mini, so I can't print this whole thing in one go, not even standing vertically. And so I've done it so that this can be broken into 2, and it's got these, I mean, you can just about see them, these clamp things here where you put an M3 nut in, an M3 screw, and it will hold the 2 sides together. Now that's not designed to hold this together on its own. What that's really there for is so you can put some glue, or even better, plastic filler in, and then use these to hold it in place and hold it straight while that dries, really. But they're there. If you're doing it as managing to print it as whole, you're sending it to a service where you've got a big enough printer to print it as whole, you can just take these off, and obviously all the source will be available for this, so you can just remove those and print it without them if you want to. And the screen has these things here which will hold it in place. I used a kind of springy spring, a little spring underneath it, just so you can get pressure down on it. Not taken off the screen protector off of this screen yet, which is because it's full of dog hair, because I own a Labrador and everything is full of dog hair. Yes, and the base. So the base is, of course, where a lot of the stuff is going to be screwed into. This here is the switch mechanism. Now, because this screen requires 9 volts rather than 5 volts, I can't power it off of the actual PC Engine itself. So everything's coming from a 9-volt power source, which we'll get to in a second. Otherwise, there is a version of this model that it's got a power switch, which will just come off of the actual PC Engine power switch. And the breakout board, which we'll get to again in a second, will allow you to send 5 volts to a screen. You find one that takes 5 volts. You can't screws in the bottom here. The actual PC Engine screws in here. These actually come from the bottom, so it's also the case screws, much like the original case actually works as well. Again, these have got these, which you don't need if you're doing it in one go. And then we have what all of our PCBs screw into. Now, I've made some breakout boards. These again will all be available, obviously. So there are 3 things we need: power, video and the controller. So for the video and some of the power stuff, there's this breakout board. This will go into the expansion slot on the back of the PC Engine. I think it's probably useful for a few projects, to be fair. And it breaks out to 5 volts out, 9 volts in, video, RGB and audio. Now we're just going to use video, voltage in and audio for this, but yeah, a useful breakout board for a few reasons, I think. This is the controller breakout, so this will, you put some pins in there. It's really hard to get that on screen properly. And it'll plug into the controller port, and then it breaks out to the various signals that come from the controller. And then we have this, which is a power distribution board. This is a nice simple board. You just put the battery power in, and then it will go out to the monitor, to the PC Engine. It attaches this switch, which you've got at the front here, and it will also, what's the last one? I don't recall. Something else. Oh yeah, you could attach an LED to it if you want, and it will, so you can shine an LED. We haven't done that, but that's something for the future. Right, so power. I got this board off of AliExpress. This is what this whole sizing is done for, so this will screw in. It uses 18650 cells to power it. I've got the wrong kind of cells. They're the cells with the, where is it? Oh, there they are. Right, hold on. They're the kind that look like actual just large AA batteries, but you really need the tabless kind, the ones that just flat on both ends. So yeah, I've managed to break the case a bit trying to get these in and out. This board isn't great. I don't know if I recommend it. Possibly there's some stuff you could do to make it better, but it's like it powers on immediately as soon as you put batteries in. There's no way to kind of have a switch attached to this to stop it, and so you have a light which will be draining the power all the time. But it does include USB-C charging, and it's 9 volts out. You can get them in different flavors, but this one's a 9 volt board, which is the one, of course, you want. So that will screw in there. The power distribution board will screw in back here. Now, we won't get sound today for various reasons. There's been quite frustrating sounds. It's like quite simple. So I've got these little speakers which will go either side. So if it was stereo, you would get true stereo separation. Unfortunately, the audio board I first wanted hasn't arrived. It just keeps saying delayed. So God knows if that is ever going to arrive. In fact, I've cancelled it. I've actually cancelled it now because there was no point. So I decided to use the a Game Gear board as well. Not ideal. You can mod it for stereo, and you can buy reproduction ones for stereo. I think this is a real one. It is a real one. I took this out of another board because I replaced it with a replacement one. I'm pretty sure I recapped it. I guess we'll find out. It doesn't look like it's leaked or anything, so hopefully that's fine. And that will screw in. It's got like the cutouts for the headphone socket and the volume wheel in the back, and it just sits in there and screws in there wonderfully. I haven't got the cable for that. That's the other thing that hasn't arrived, which is really annoying. So there will be no sound because I can't get a cable because it's a smaller pitch than all the other headers I've got. So yeah, that unfortunately won't be on, but sound is relatively simple. Great. So what we need to do is we have this 6mm dual pole switch. I need to wire this up. Now the way these work, if you've never seen them before, and you can barely see it on the screen, I'm sure. The switch is basically on a metal carriage, and it touches the middle pin here, and either that pin or that pin, depending where it's switched. So if it's switched across here, then these two pins are bridged. If it's switched across here, then you definitely can't see this. Then these two pins are bridged. So we just have to put, because we want it to be, if we look at this going this way, and at this, you'll see that this, when the power switch comes out, it's got the little blocking thing that holds the EQ card in. So we want it to be, if it's going that way, when it's on. So we want to have little wire connected to these two pins here. So we'll do that. And then it's just a case of screwing it all together. Oh yeah, I'm using a BBC Master as a table here. Sorry, to anyone that is disappointed with that. So these screws, the main case screws that go through the motherboards and stuff, they use the same screws that come out of the PC Engine. So they're these game bit ones. or a similar size screw, obviously, because you will need 2 extra ones, because it only uses 4 in the original. And all the others are just kind of a mixture of M3s and M2s. So all fairly simple to get hold of screws. There shouldn't be a problem. So, oh, and the Hue card one uses the same ones that you take out to get the Hue card out of the PC Engine. So that's fine as well. So we will screw this partially together. I will solder up the power lead and we will test it. Back in a bit. Right, it's all in. It's not quite fitting together. The reason being, you may have seen that I put some screws going downwards for the PC Engine. Yeah, it turns out I can't find my game bit screwdriver anywhere, which is what they should be using, and obviously the screw should be coming up above, so there's screw posts there, so that won't go down. But I just wanted to hold the PC Engine in place just for the thing. All right, well, we kind of have to try turning this on, I guess, so we need to stick it's all a bit dark here, I do apologise. Can't do much about that, I'm afraid. Need to stick a game in here. That's in. And then try to turn it on, I guess. Oh, there we go. Okay, so controller is working. Onto Afterburner. There we go. It works. There we are. We can play. Wonderful. Right. Let's talk about the controller. Actually, the controller is one thing we have to do. So this is based on the very original Turbo PC Engine controller. There's no auto fire, etc., etc. This wasn't my idea originally. I was designing an entirely new custom PCB for that, and it would just reuse contact and buttons and stuff from the original controller, but it would be a whole new board. I didn't get that finished in time, so now it does this. I'll update the project once I do get that done. It shouldn't be too hard to actually cut holes for auto fire and stuff like that, so that would make that work. But anyway, it works. Oh, we can do this now. Yay! But it does, it works. It's a functioning console. And yeah, I don't know what the battery life's going to be. Probably not great. If I'm honest. These 18650 batteries you can buy them from everywhere now because they're used in vapes and stuff like that. And none of them have the correct voltage. None of them say exactly what the milliamp hours are. So Who knows how long this will last. Really, we need to put up some lights to show when the battery's dying and stuff. The board does have some facility for that, so we won't have to. But again, yeah, it's chargeable via USB-C, so that's good. But anyway, it works. It's kind of a lovely project, I think, personally. I enjoyed it. Yeah, I mean, some of you also may have seen I even did some minor cable management, which if you've seen my previous projects, that would have shocked you. But yeah, that's because I like this project. It's good. Right. Anyway, all these projects will be, the files for this project will be available, obviously on GitHub, and all the printed bits will be on various different 3D printable places. All of it open source, all of it free. Obviously, you have to source your own PC Engine and controller, but that's a lot easier than sourcing a TurboExpress, sorry, or what have you. But anyway, that's it. If you like the video, please hit like. If you really like the video, please hit subscribe. If you didn't like the video or you have something else to say, then please leave it in the comments below. See you next time.
The present is horrible. The future looks bleak. Remember our childhood to get us